are live. Hello, everybody. Today is 11/9/2019, and I'm joined by a very special guest, Mr. John Kenneth Hutchison. So, thank you for joining me. I'm very, very honored that you agreed to come on and share your story. So, appreciate it.
Real pleasure. Real pleasure.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So, big question. How did you, when did you first start your experiments? When did you first start exploring the artistry of electricity and all that kind of stuff?
No, basically when I was a child, I guess, but I got heavily involved when I got inspired by reading Nikola Tesla and wanted to replicate his laboratory. So that was about 1979 approximately. Being in Vancouver, had access to a lot of electrical machinery that nobody wanted to stop. So,
Vintage. So, what was your first experiment on memory? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, of course. It was building a Tesla coil for one, and also building an electrostatic generator. Having fun with those two devices, then I went on to building other devices that Tesla built a long time ago.
What type of electrostatic generator was it?
Oh, basically a Van de Graaff generator.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was pretty cool stuff.
What was powering your Tesla coil too? Because I think a lot of people are into Tesla coiling. What type of power supply were you using at the time?
Oh, the power supply for those was a extra heavy neon sign transformer.
Classic.
And then I graduated to X-ray transformers later on and got more energy from that, and then substation transformers.
Nice. Yeah. Slowly more and more power.
Yeah, about 56 kVA, kilovolt amperes I got.
Yeah.
89,000 volt transformer, and that thing really.
Nice. Was your goal to make really large sparks, or did you have something else in mind as far as what Tesla was?
Basically what Tesla was doing, radio communications, high voltage stuff, plasma experiments, and ball lightning.
Ball lightning, where you started using vacuum chambers, or were you just trying to do it in air type of deal?
Oh, actually, making ball lightning was extra heavy direct current voltage being discharged through spark gaps. Modified plasma beads, like blasting aluminum rods until they vaporize, and then they would form a round ball and go down the guidance system I built for it.
That's pretty cool.
That was a riot. Yeah, stuff. And then vintage communications devices such as Navy radios and transmitters and that kind of thing was one of my interests as well at that time.
Yeah. Why do you think, from your own opinion and point of view, why do you think Tesla was kind of stopped, or I guess you could say suppressed? Some people will say it's suppressed. Or what do you think happened there? Why he wasn't able to achieve his dream of wireless power transmission?
Really, I think that he was successful in many things. Sometimes I feel he was his own worst enemy, but he developed a lot of things. And then in later years, he developed the Wardenclyffe project, and he was funded by J.P. Morgan, who felt that he didn't want to see the population get free energy from Tesla's broadcast system. So
right, truly free energy, right?
Yeah, that would have been, and that was shut down, and Tesla kind of went into seclusion, sort of.
Do you think he was felt like he was let down or something a little bit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he went into different areas of research, but didn't have the resources and that to carry on.
Right.
So.
Yeah, because he wasn't like a financier type of person. He just liked to experiment, right?
That's his nature.
Yeah.
Yes, he got a lot of money by working with George Westinghouse and getting millions of dollars for kilowatt hours, but he turned all that down.
Right.
Very interesting character. I mean, a lot of those old timers back then were quite intriguing characters.
Who are some of your other greats that you've?
Oh, there's Thomas Alva Edison, Marconi, Hans Oersted, Ampere, Newton. It's a whole bunch of pioneers back in those days. Ben Franklin was one of my favorites.
Yeah. Because of his philosophy, or because of just everything in general?
I think in general, really.
He was almost stoic, I would say, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they were unique individuals that created a lot of different things, had unique personalities.
Definitely. I mean, hopefully we all carry those traits, and you know, that's the beauty of being alive, is being unique, expressing yourselves. What out of all of your experiments, I don't know if you could just say one. You know, it's like kind of like saying, "What's your favorite band?" I don't know. Most people don't have one particular favorite, but out of all of your experiments, what's one of the most enjoyable ones that you've done?
I think really, to be honest, was the first news broadcast one with Alan Edwards at BCTV, British Columbia Television Company. That went very smoothly. It was levitating a chunk of foam up to the ceiling and down. Other than that, the highlights to me are the ones I did for the TV folks.
Right, because you actually got it captured.
Yeah,
got Hutchinson effect captured.
Yeah, the other one was Fox TV filming a UFO going up in the air. Right. That was cool. I mean, and it's fun, and you know, the scientists, they get angry at me saying, "Well, you should cooperate with us and do this and come to this laboratory and do it in a scientific approach." But I was never trained to be a scientist, just an explorer and having fun.
Right. Right. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, you just would rather play around with the parameters that nature has, right? Like the different patterns. And that's another really good question. Like, when you are tuning things, right? Because it's almost like you're making music, or right, in a way, or a conductor. It seems like. What are like some tips, or what are some ranges that you tuned in for a lot of the Hutchinson effect and things of that nature? Like, in particular, is there any frequency ranges that you noticed had oddities with certain materials or anything like that?
Oh yeah, actually, VLF radio transmission and electrostatic transmission, magnetic transmission seem to be pretty powerful in some of the effects that happen.
So it was like a trifecta almost. So you'd use a very low frequency electrostatic field and a higher radio frequency, basically, magnetic field.
Yeah, I started using X-band radio, 20 kilomegacycles range, and I was getting more effects. The effects I just accidentally discovered was an accident. I didn't realize that people would be even interested in this stuff. I thought it was a natural thing that happened with high voltage, but
well, some of it, like the levitators and stuff, ion propulsion, or whatever the theory is behind it, but like with T. Thompson Brown technology, I know you're pretty big on him too.
Yeah, T. Thompson Brown is an interesting character. I replicated some of his stuff on a smaller scale with a toy UFO type device where I put high voltage onto it and got it to float in the air. And then that was later done by another scientist in France, I believe. I just remember the name, but he had got excellent results as well.
And what do you think about that? Like, do you have any particular theory? I know you're not big on theories, and I don't blame you, to be honest, but do you have any particular idea?
No. I have my own ideas. I think more related to quantum physics in gravity, like gravitons, time particles, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I know that the effects that I produced were very random and by chance. They weren't on demand type situation. It took a lot of work to even try and get an effect to happen.
Do you think it was like just finding the resonant frequency, like a fundamental frequency of the material you're using, and that's why it's such a challenge?
Yeah, I would think so. And of course, I was my own worst enemy because I didn't cooperate with the main scientist. And I was offered major funding by Prince Hans Adam Liechtenstein, Prince of Liechtenstein, to go back to Toronto and work with my partner, George Hathaway. But to be honest, that is not what I want, because I like doing other things.
Right. You got to follow your heart.
Yeah, I mean, like taking apart warships, I like doing that. But, for me to go into a 9-to-5 situation, it's not my cup of tea. And then the U.S. Pentagon folks offered me that situation in 2005, and yet again I turned them down. I said no, I'm kind of flattered, but I really, I like my privacy. I like my freedom. I don't want to be tied down to all this stuff, and it's just, I had problems with it. Yet another group sponsored by Boeing. Two other scientists I worked with for a couple of years, and it was all locked down, and it took the fun out of it for me, and then it just turned into a big legal mess later on.
Yeah, I can understand that. You think because money and intellectual property stuff is involved, it kind of gets all wonky?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we did our thing for a couple of years, but I left for Germany, and the laboratories to be shipped over there, but it never made it. Got tied up in legal stuff and Environment Canada.
Yeah, that makes sense. We already have some questions too. One from Ryan, who asked, "When's the last time that you achieved the Hutchinson effect? When's the last time you actually did the Hutchinson effect?"
Okay, that would be about 2008 for CNN. And let's see, 2008. Did I do anything after? No, I didn't do anything much after that.
It's about 2008?
Yeah, 2008.
All right.
The CNN stuff that came around and filmed it.
Heidnick asks, have you ever tried anything with like HHO cells or any type of electrolysis?
I used to play with electrolysis, but I did have water effects. They're pretty dynamic. It was filmed by History Channel. It was Earth black holes. It was, I had a lot of water going up in the air and electrical stuff going around a toy ship, a small foot-long warship. And I got lots of video of that, as well as, so I've done a lot of stuff with water.
What type of phenomenon happened? Like, what was the effects?
Well, I had a tub of water, and the ship itself started to shoot off electrical sparks, as well as the water started going up in the air, like Levitation.
Okay.
And it disappeared shortly, and that was quite odd. I was trying to prepare something with a buddy of mine who works for BAE Systems, that we wanted to do a TV series on all this stuff. And we got onto KSLX, Los Angeles radio, talking about it with the producers. And our first big thing was to do a model of the Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah.
And do that, and then go from about 13 other episodes. But again, Hollywoodland, that a lot of talk, a lot of steam, stuff like that, but it never happened. So
yeah. But explains the ship. Philadelphia project explains the ship. Was it like you have like water orbitals, like almost like a Lord Kelvin, where it like orbits around, like it looked like it was orbiting around the ship, or just straight up, just floated straight up?
No, it looked like more like a boiling, but it was not boiling. It was just flying up in the air and getting the ship all wet, kind of thing.
Huh? That's interesting. Very cool.
Yeah.
yeah. You say that with some hesitation.
That was wild. That was crazy. There's a video of that scientists took, and they posted on the internet. It was about 2008, I think. But yeah, that was fun.
And actually, there's another question, I guess. I didn't know this, but Ryan asks, can you give any details when you're working on the Star Wars project? You're one of the people that work on the Star Wars project? I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, I was one of the first that worked on the Star Wars presentations. So Lieutenant Colonel John B. Alexander came up with a team to observe what I was doing at that time. and it was for roughly 4 months' time, and then not too much happened. And then Los Alamos seemed to be upset over something that they wrote a scathing report on the effects. But then after that, I'm just trying to, McDonnell Douglas came up. Jack Houck did a 2-day film shoot, and a lot of things happened that day. And I believe after that, I got involved with the Canadian government guys. And then they filmed everything and wrote up reports.
That's interesting.
Oh yeah, it was because Canada had a Star Wars program too. And Dr. Lauren A. Kuhn was head of the director of scientific technical intelligence agency. So that was my encounters with governments, I guess.
That's very, very interesting.
Oh yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
we all had fun.
Yeah, that's the important part, right? You enjoy what you do. What are your thoughts on like UFOs, or what are they called now? Aerial aerial phenomenons, unidentified aerial phenomenons now. What's your how do you feel about that? What do you think they are?
I feel it's intriguing. I don't know. I know my friend John Alexander is really into that quite deeply. Realizing the college's cosmology of space and time is so vast, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like radio waves take years and years and years to travel back and forth in space, unless you go into something that's hypervelocity.
Right. And there's some theories about like the graviton, or even like a dielectric field that might exceed the speed of light. I mean, of course, it's merely just a theory, but.
Oh no, it's been done. I mean, it's done by the Chernoff reaction and gyrotrons and that cool stuff. And even antimatter is being produced at Los Alamos in the 1980s.
Huh.
So I personally haven't seen a UFO, but I believe that we have been observed.
Yeah, but
I mean,
what would I mean? What? Yeah, it's really interesting, like, because there's a lot of documentation that says that there's, there's extraterrestrial life, but then I don't know. It's just so interesting. You have to walk this crazy balance. Like, even by me saying that, most people just in mainstream will just dismiss you as kind of crazy, but it's like.
I know the government people are quite interested in them, and I had a girlfriend who did a UFO TV film, feature film, 3-part TV miniseries, and she put me to work in the 90s to write to the CIA folks to get documents on UFOs, and had to go through a privacy coordinator, which I did go through, and get my passport notarized and all that stuff.
Right.
I had the option of going there to the library, and they gave me all their library fees and procedures and what to do. Or I could take what's already been released for $90 and they send it all out. So I took the easy way out. I sent them a money order and they sent me this huge stack of UFO reports, which I don't know. I mean, I found some cool stuff that I still have.
Yeah, there's like the Norwegian Air Force, and there's a bunch of documentation for fighters too that have. Just obviously they're UFOs. I mean, whether they're extraterrestrial or not, I mean, is another topic, I guess. As you said before, like this seafaring across the universe would be pretty impressive. But like, what do you think if there was an extraterrestrial species? Like, what do you think they would even want to do with us? What do you think would be their interest?
Personally, observation, because in my opinion, we're too primitive of a hateful race to be engaged on that level. I think Gene Roddenberry explains it very well in all his productions.
Yeah,
ideas.
I agree. It's funny too how science fiction almost is like it precedes what actually happens. It becomes science fact in a way. It may look a little different, but that's really interesting.
Oh, it's fascinating. I mean, working with the Star Trek folks on some things, which I was doing, they were right into this stuff.
Yeah, did you help set up, like you help set up sets and stuff like that for,
What's that?
well,
Sorry.
you help set up like different sets for Star Trek and Stargate and stuff like that? Like, were you just a advisor for cool technology
No,
looking stuff?
no, I was a guest on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I met Herman Zimmerman. They were hosting us down in Los Angeles on anti-nuclear um, technology that would eliminate nuclear waste. Because yeah, it was really cool for me being a Trekkie. Oh, going to Quark's bar and all that, it was like wow, you know. And then Stargate SG-1 is just filmed in Vancouver. It's I got invited to go there, which was fun for me too. And it was only 10 minutes away because so many films are filmed where I used to live in New Westminster, British Columbia. We had the X-Files folks. So we had, good heavens, Fringe.
Yeah, that was an interesting show.
And all was just filmed right around the neighborhood and in the old insane
Oh, okay.
Riverview. And then the Navy ships I was working on, the X-Files was filmed on 2 episodes on the warships, and I actually filmed them.
That's
I had to be
cool.
quiet. I was up in the superstructure filming them.
Oh, okay. So you helped them with some of the film work, the cinematography stuff?
No. I just they knew about me through my television stuff and demonstrations. And they'd come around me and ask me things. And
Oh, okay.
take us out for dinner or something. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you were kind of like an advisor in a way, like a tech advisor in a way, right? Because
Maybe one of the producers came visiting and recognized some of the X Files pieces and parts I took off the warships in my crowded apartment. And she said, "Oh yeah, I remember taking those knobs and putting masking tape around them so they wouldn't get paint all over them." I had a lot of fun with that stuff too.
that's cool. Those are some awesome shows. I think I'm totally a geek though, but I think
Oh,
most people agree.
oh yeah.
See, Ryan asked another question. Basically, like, have you got results from different types of transmutation of metals, or have you gotten any SEM?
Oh yeah. I was. Those results, of course, were handed over to one of my partners, George Hathaway, who did metal analysis on them, and then later on through a whole German research group in Japan. And right now, it's being reanalyzed by Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project,
Right.
who are taking this quite seriously and analyzing everything. And then also the German research team that I sold my lab to is interested in the test results. So every day I get something from Bob Greener on the latest results in metal lab.
Yeah,
Metal, yes, next.
that's pretty cool. That's expensive work to get done too. So
Yeah, it's interesting to try and figure out what on earth I did do in that time frame. Although one scientist from DREP Defense Establishment Pacifica felt he knew what was going on because I had a small nuclear source in most of my laboratory setups, and that he felt that I was taking the energy of taking the nuclear stuff and depositing it and giving it extra energy in a sample.
hmm.
But Dr. Lauren Kuhn said, "Oh no, that's not." So scientists they have
Yeah,
they argue all the time. And,
yeah, because you have to disprove something with a hypothesis, but the only way to really achieve that is to use experiments. So it's like
well, it's like I never wrote anything up myself on it. To me, it was just an interesting project with old electrical machines, but they would come around and write up this stuff and trying to coerce me, as I mentioned before, to do it this way or do it that way or move to Toronto, Canada, or move back east.
yeah, yeah,
Takes the fun out of one thing for a
yeah.
thing.
I can understand that. What what type of learning style do you think you have? Because everybody's a little different. Like some people are like audible, and some people are visual. Like what type of learning style do you think you would have?
I'm visual and very visual. I see things in my mind, and I actually will create them by my hands.
So with that visual type of insight, or like that's what draws you. What do you think? What's your picture of gravity? What's your vision of like what gravity is, since it's still such a huge theoretical debate?
I know. Reading documents in Germany, I feel it's graviton particles.
Graviton part. So it's like it's like
Yeah,
a static field.
because it's related to neutrons. The more neutrons you have, the more gravity pull you have.
Yeah.
What's going on in a neutron that creates these strings or
Right.
gravity.
Do you think you think it's interacting in like fields of light? Like, do you think that that's the gravitons are having their inverse would be light type of deal, or?
I don't know about light, but I think they stem from neutrons. I read some documents in Germany from DE Deutsch Electron something. In German it's DESI.
Okay.
They were studying gravitons, uh, things called tardons, bosons, tar particles. They would go into lengthy articles. It was a hot summer in Munich. Ian Gaza, my lady at the time, was off doing her film stuff, and I was in the backyard reading all these papers, sitting in the sun, kind of thing. So I said, "Wow, these people seem to know a lot of stuff." And the documents were classified, actually, it's lent to me by a science editor for a Deutsch science magazine.
That's
Gottfried
cool.
Ilster.
It seems like you've gotten lots of opportunities to be aware of things that a lot. Well, I guess it's your passion, right? It's the things that you love to do.
Yeah,
So
been
makes sense.
involved in the DoD's SBIR program for a long time.
That's another really good question, because a lot of people are like believe in a lot of conspiracy theory stuff and yada yada yada. Putting politics to the side, because we all know politics is just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
The bureaucracy. What's your like? What do you think about the bureaucracy? And do you think that overall, like, they're pretty good people, or do you think they're evil and not to get people? Like, what do you think? What's your opinion?
You mean the Defense Department folks?
Yeah, defense or CIA or whoever it might
Uh,
be, like the bureaucrats.
oh, they never done me any harm. I got along with them fine. I wrote letters to them. They write back, and phone them. They phone back.
Yeah,
No, them.
yeah. So the bureaucracy in general, they're just trying to keep things systemized and in order without completely disrupting everything, perhaps. But
Well, bureaucracy is bureaucracy. It
yeah,
depends on what problems you're encountering. I mean, I've had problems with crazy bureaucrats, but I just go to the news media and report it. Like gun control, I was involved in gun control in 1978 with Canadian government, but the Canadian government was very supportive of what I was doing.
yeah.
And this one RCMP officer, Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer, who created a big mess. So I got in the news media, and they came around and got a good lawyer, a gun collector lawyer. I got two lawyers, one R. Flynn Marr and Michael Martinoff, and we went to court and won our cases, and they were ordered to return everything to me.
Hmm.
It was
That's yeah. That's
quite strange that was.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean that was 78 to 79 time frame, and then, but dealing with government folks, I had U.S. congressmen come visit me in Canada, Berkeley Bedell and Dennis Kucinich. No problems.
Yeah,
Any problems really.
that's good. Yeah,
They
that's
just
that's kind of like this. I mean, in general, it seems like people all over the world are generally good. Like they just want to do the right thing, but we don't always make the right decisions as human beings, of course. But we make mistakes. But
yeah, it's just
as life, right?
that's just. And there are some evil people around the planet, but they always come and go or get assassinated or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we don't have, yeah, let's not digress, right? So Ryan has another question about coil configuration for the Hutchinson effect. Like, I know I've seen a couple of diagrams, so I kind of have an idea, but like if somebody wanted to try to recreate it and just they were into just fiddling knobs and tuning for hours on end, what would be the best path to take?
Wow, that's a good one, isn't it? Describe that. And,
You have 5 minutes. Go.
yeah, 5 minutes. Go for it. No, I'd have to teach somebody to do that in person. It's quite because what I did was very slow in getting there and stuff I built. I mean, that took a long time, a couple of years until I started doing weird effects and things.
What about
Then,
the Tesla parameters first? Like, what type of Tesla coil did you have set up? Was it like a magnifying transmitter where there was 3 coils, or was it just a standard Tesla coil? Or
no, I had a high Q Tesla coil which didn't put out sparks. It was putting out more RF,
yeah,
very strong, and I had another one that was putting out RF at 750 kilohertz, and then I had a disruptive discharge transformer, which
oh, okay.
actually Tesla used for his lectures on high frequency and high voltage. I copied that and built
And
that.
sorry to interrupt, but to suppress your sparks, were you using a larger top load that was like spherical without any breakout points, or what was your approach on that?
On which one? Sorry.
To suppress any sparking,
Oh yeah,
what was your
I
solution?
used Corona suppression rings.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Because I wanted to get the frequencies as fine tuned and tight as possible. And
Yeah.
I was just dealing in these old relics and that, and then eventually things improved when I got into more vacuum tube technology and Navy surplus stuff.
Because you're able to put more power into your systems without losses.
Yeah, I could narrow down the frequencies, the shift of frequency through frequency shifting devices. And I mean, the surplus in Vancouver was absolutely astronomical in those days.
Yeah,
I'd go in these places and it was all over the place.
that's very cool.
People, they didn't want this stuff. Convoy Electrical Machinery gave me a 56 kVA, 96,000 volt transformer, free, William delivered.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
but
awesome.
that's not the case. So,
Yeah, now you can't even get a neon sign transformer. Like, good luck trying to find one without a you know grounding mechanism in it. Ground fault interrupt circuit that ruins it all.
yeah, I mean, you go on eBay and try to find an X-ray transformer. Well, good luck.
Yeah.
The ones I have are huge. They're like weight about 2,000 pounds.
How many kVA on one of those? You laugh.
I don't know. Maybe the timing was right back then, but nowadays all this stuff is. If you find it on eBay, it's a huge price, kind of thing.
Yeah, because it's vintage.
It's just crazy land.
Yeah.
Vacuum tubes. People just gave me vacuum tubes because I use vacuum tubes, big triodes.
That's very cool. What do you think of the newer solid state technologies? You think that it's still achievable with solid state designs, like to do those certain things if you don't focus on maybe discharging a bunch of lightning, but instead focus on just creating a RF interference patterns or heterodyning?
Don't know. As furthest I got was half vacuum tube, half solid state in my 2000 time frame on up experiments, which I thought was okay. I had more effects on demand, yes, and I had to because Discovery Channel or Fox TV or these people would come up, pay me well for a demo,
Yeah.
and make whatever story they want to make out of it. And so I got to the point where I had everything plugged in, and all I had to do was just unplug when they left and plug it back in. That's how crazy it got. So I get behind, work the controls, and get effects happening for them. Paid well. I mean, Discovery Channel folks liked it.
Yeah, I bet. It's really interesting. So back to the setup. Like basically, you had two Tesla coils. Would you say they're like just making interference patterns with each other, like heterodyning, like making very low frequencies on top of these high frequencies, or
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah?
That's going back in time and primitive. Yes.
Okay, okay. And
But
then you'd add an electrostatic field with like a Van de Graaff generator, or
yeah, I
okay,
had that. That's equal important. I had eventually got two electrostatic generators along with the high frequency and low frequency stuff, and then I had the magnetic field where I could actually work vary the magnetic fields. These were old traveling wave tube heads that would pinch the actual electrons inside. Instead, took the tube out and put let's see, about an inch and a quarter solid steel bar in, and I could actually, using variac, control a magnetic field.
hmm.
So it got fairly complex, and I have these videos that show all this that I have never had the opportunity to upload onto YouTube or some place.
Yeah, you have I would say a plethora of like tons of different experimental stuff
Mm-hmm.
and samples and stuff like that. It's wild.
I do. A lot of videos and documents that are still sitting on the hard drive my wife has here that needs to get uploaded someday because it shows what I was doing and how to do it. It's a lot of videos I took and a lot of videos some TV people took. But I think personally, I think the documents, 8,000 of them, and then the videos would be very good, useful items for people to watch and replicate the stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And
So,
I've seen a couple of diagrams you have too of exactly what you're just describing. It's the two Tesla coils and well, at least I saw it on Facebook, anyways. So
yeah,
I know that you've put it out there. It's just a matter of people spending the hours of time messing with knobs, basically, right?
I know it's because I went mega scale. I mean, this stuff is huge and weighs thousands of pounds piece sometimes.
So that's a good question. How much power output would like just a rough estimation of like your total system? How much power output are we talking about?
Oh, I could go from 75 watts to 4,000 watts output, but I managed with British Columbia Television, the news story, news at 6, 75 watts power that levitated a sponge up to this 12-foot high ceiling.
Hmm.
So that was mentioned in the news story. So I varied it. I could vary it quite a bit. And when I got into the apartment, I'd have to say my wattage was maybe maximum 2,000 watts. But there was a problem after doing this all the time for quite a while. It started affecting the neighborhood itself.
Yeah, I bet.
And that reached the mayor of New Westminster, Wayne Wright, who actually was a friend of mine, who came visiting me, and he would City Hall would get these complaints, and I just got rolling into it. Then the fire marshal and other people, and eventually they came up. Well, I have to remove everything out of this building. But I had a lawyer friend who said, no, we're not going to do that, but we'll make you a walkway. We'll compromise. So that was sort of the beginning of the end. And I think the last demo was for CNN. And then after that, sold it on eBay, the
Yeah,
lab.
that was like 2007, 2008, or
Oh, let's see, I sold the lab in 2011, I believe, to
I
a
see.
German research group who came out. And
Are they private group or public, or you know?
I think they're private. They're on the internet somewhere, but they put an offer up to like $1 million to levitate something, but which I feel kind of strange about because I had this on eBay and I found all this out after they bought it for 50 grand only, and then I found out later they had all this. If you could levitate something, you get million or whatever.
Is that offer still on the table? I mean, because that could be your financial freedom. I don't know your financial status, of course. I mean, you might already be financially free, but
I had a lot of sponsorship from Japan to build free energy devices. I had $250,000 from Japan. I had $250,000 from Germany, and maybe 200,000 in other situations. I'm okay that way, but um, and also the buying of the laboratory, which was a bit of a challenge because they had to take 9 tons of stuff down the elevators, pack it, and put it in shipping containers to go to Europe. So all of that was going on. The stuff I wanted to keep, my wife had to get it through customs and all that. So that's kind of quite a lot of work involved in all this stuff.
yeah.
Then Michael McCardle, a filmmaker, a friend of mine, who's done a lot of stories with me, he filmed their leaving off to the Gulf of Mexico. And I just left New Westminster.
You went south. You flew south.
I went south to Florida and did the oil cleanup stuff for a while.
Yeah, I saw some of that. So like that, and that was basically using frequencies that would nullify the Fukushima effects, or no, Gulf of Mexico spill. So nullify the oil, like the hydrocarbon.
Yeah, the oil field effects, the bad stuff. And luckily, Nancy got it all documented by scientists who take samples before and after. Then Fukushima happened. He took off to go up north and then set up an anti-shield, basically anti-radiation shielding to get rid of the radioactive material, which we did successfully do, and that was documented by scientists as well. 6 samples, test them, and write it up. And I put it all on my SlideShare, a lot of this stuff. So that went on, and
do you have a body of like all the like a cloud or anything like that of all the different stuff that you've done that I could link later on in the description so people can check it out?
I did have a lot of videos on YouTube, but YouTube took down all my 9,500 videos. Gone.
Yeah, I noticed your channel disappeared too. I was wondering about that. Is that not of your doing? Was that YouTube who did that?
No, they YouTube did that because of the community guidelines using too many tags. So that eliminated all that stuff. Huh. Luckily, some fans have copied stuff and uploaded it onto YouTube. Myself, I use ByteShoot to upload any videos, but it's nothing really earth-shattering there, except my experiences with the X-Files people and Navy ships and what else I got. I think
maybe we could sit down sometime. I could help you. Like, you just send me some of the stuff. I'll collect it and throw it on like a Google Cloud to share with everybody.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of stuff I want to get out there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, if you start sending me stuff, I'll start putting it in an archive on a cloud. So, and then just share it. So I'll start that and put it in the link. It'll probably be a day or two, but I'll put it in the description in this video too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If you're willing to.
So we're getting our, it's interesting now. I know something that about over a year ago, it was a news story came out about Navy's ELF radio waves act as a buffer against the cosmic radiation, harmful cosmic radiation that hits the Earth. That made world news. So
like gamma radiation and high.
Yeah, gamma radiation.
Huh.
Gamma radiation and cosmic rays. It acts as a buffer.
That's interesting because like our Earth has a very low frequency too, right? As a natural magnetosphere protection in a way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. How do you think the interplay is between, like, okay, so here's a question I've had for a while. What do you think about like the electric universe theory and those principles?
Oh, cool. It's cool stuff. It's interesting. I've heard a lot about it and also have my own ideas on things too. But I used to do my own monitoring, like the solar flux index of the sun.
Yeah.
and geomagnetic field activity. I used to do my own monitoring with receivers and spectrum analyzers I had. Kept tabs through the old strip chart recording. But I think it's fascinating stuff. I mean, there's a lot of biological connections with these fields, like gravimetric tension of the moon, Earth, the sun, and all these unique fields that work around.
Yeah, that's
solar magnetic storms and geomagnetic storms.
There seems to be a large body of evidence to gathering about how much the sun influences our weather patterns and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love the sun.
Yeah, so do I. Thank goodness we have it, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, Pace de la Cruz. I think he missed some of the beginning of this video because I think some of his questions were answered, but he asked if you've ever been approached by a shady government individual.
A shady government guy? Let me think. There was Car Check of Canada, which were weird spooks, and I have no idea what they were up to, but I did report them to Canadian Security Intelligence Service, who visited me about them, and that was written up in something. But other than that, nah.
Not too bad?
Not too bad. Yeah.
Good. That's good.
Usually, if I can sense a spook a mile away, I usually call them out on it, but that's very rare. I only had a few encounters.
And they're not always in the government too, right?
No,
Yeah.
No. I've kicked out people from IBM.
Just off of intuition.
Some people, I just tell them to go fly a kite.
Yeah. Just off of intuition, like you know that they have like nefarious motives in a way.
But most of my encounters are very good.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
People were fun and
yeah, people are generally good. I think. I honestly feel that way. I think it's just we just need to communicate more and start. Yeah, I don't know. Being better ourselves.
Positivity rules.
Yeah, I like that too. Okay, so I missed one question by Ryan. He has two for you. One question by Ryan Abrams is if you were able to like have a protege or like you know be a teacher to somebody who would come out and you could teach them some of the Hutchinson effect stuff and what you know, would you be willing to do that? Or having like a seminar, having people come out and you just spend a day or two just teaching people stuff. Would you do that? Would that be something you'd be willing to do?
I think that would be, a seminar with many folks because I have so many people ask me about that. So doing it for a couple of days would be fun.
Yeah, so we could have like a Hutchinson retreat. Right?
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean.
So you wouldn't be opposed to that. So you would if we could find the funding for that. And how much would you need for your time?
I have no idea. I never asked for money.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where to start with that either. But I just figured I'd throw it out. I figured I'd throw it out there anyways. So. Yeah. So and then another question. So digest that. Think about that one. Because we'll talk down the line maybe, and who knows if that will go forward or not. But another one is Ryan asked if you still have that crazy Navy motor that runs off of just radio frequencies, very low radio frequencies. You put it up in a tree once with this elementally treated copper. You made little micro antenna on the copper. Really interesting, fascinating stuff. Do you still have those motors, or did you sell those?
Oh, good heavens. Yeah, I just gave one to my friend, Inventor 3 on YouTube. And the other one I sold on eBay. Custom, I think about 4 or 5 months ago. I have on eBay a lot of stuff for sale. I just sell it off. And no, I don't have any motors. Nancy's actually doing free energy stuff.
Is she still working on the crystal battery stuff and the crystal wafer stuff, or what's her?
Yeah, I mean that's she's working on that. I mean, okay. I made a lot of crystal wafer systems for the Japanese and for Germany, and apparently they were successful running equipment, and my sponsor in Japan wanted to get me back over in Japan in 2005. So he was all excited about one of the TV shows I did myself. It was Ark of the Covenant Revealed. TLC, not TLC, Discovery Channel, one over thing. So he was copying all this stuff down. And he said, can I get you to Japan again? Let's go. And okay, cool, But he left for Japan, Hiroshima City, and he never showed up. So I don't know what happened to him. But we have a duplicate lab in Hiroshima City.
Okay.
And
so still developing the crystal wafer technology, the crystal wafer batteries, like the dry cell batteries.
No, it's Hutchinson effect stuff.
Oh, okay, my bad.
He had a massive laboratory, and the main media covered it, filming the sparks flying all over and that kind of thing. I have videos on that actually from TV Asahi Japan, showing those wild effects and that cool stuff.
Yeah.
But that was 1993.
Okay, so it was a while ago. It's nothing too recent. Is there anybody actively working on Hutchinson effect stuff like right now, like in the current moment?
Used to be a friend of mine that passed away, Ken Shoulders.
Right.
He passed away. Dr. Rauscher passed away. George Hathaway, I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but I don't know of anybody right now except the German team, as well as the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project team, asked me if I would help them replicate it, and I said sure. So I don't know. I mean, in the government, they might have surpassed it with their antimatter, anti-gravity stuff.
Yeah.
Which they were talking about doing. And ceramic shielding of gravity waves.
Ceramic. So
I deal with some old technology that's it works this a little bit this time, doesn't work other times.
By ceramic, you mean like barium titanate and something that gives off like a lower frequencies? Is that?
No, I wouldn't say barium titanate, but something very special that would nullify to pull up gravitons from neutrons. I know they're working on it. I just feel it. And
so, like a nanocrystalline structure of some sort, like just a like layer by layer type of deal, really high end stuff, probably.
Yeah, well, being on the small business innovator program I was on, they sent me reports on a lot of pieces of information. If I wanted it, I could get it. Different topics.
Right.
And some topics were not available to me. They were for only recognized contractors. And one of them was this Los Alamos research on antimatter exhibits antimatter properties and anti-gravity. And it has full, as I remember, it has full AWRI support. But I could not get a copy that was in red zone. So, but I could get a lot of other copies of different things, which weren't really that classified.
They all have to revolve around high Q type of systems and.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty advanced stuff, but I submitted a proposal to, I believe it was DARPA, for miniature management, power cell management systems, but Dr. Bud Durand, the director of that section, wrote back saying, "Thank you for your response, but you didn't fill out these certain fields and that kind of thing," so it was denied. And I didn't follow up with it later on. I just said, I'm doing other things, kind of. But I just wanted to give it a shot and see what happened.
Right.
And I'm no businessman, and no, I don't even fit in the plan. And I am who I am.
You are who you are. We all are who we are. I appreciate you being genuine and authentic, rather than being someone you're not. So. So it's good that you are who you are, and you're a very special person. But with sappy stuff to the side here, we got another question. All right, hold on.
Okay.
Peter asks. He actually lives in Hiroshima City, and he's asking if you know the name of the lab because he's never heard of it. He's interested. Maybe go check it out.
Cool. Okay. Mr. Hiroshi Yamabe, it was Tesla Research Company in downtown Hiroshima. And also, if you're going to check it out, you might try and want to reach Mr. Hino, staff reporter, JOGM TV station, Home TV, Hiroshima City. Might know something. Also, the Kyoto Institute of Technology, Mr. Ojiwara, I believe it's Ogiwara, was involved with us too. And I do have pictures and that of business cards and correspondence from the Japanese back in that time, and also videos. So that's a lead. If you can find something called the Tesla Research. Hold on, Hunkashao. I'm just going by memory of the business card.
It's pretty good.
HONKA-CHO. Hiroshima City, Japan. I can probably get more information by simply go on my Facebook and check all the pictures I took. I know that I took a picture of the card and put it up there somewhere.
All right. Yeah. So Peter, if you go on to Facebook and find John on Facebook, he puts a lot of information on Facebook. So
yeah, that'd be really cool if you could find my old partner there, Mr. Hiroshi Yamabe.
Very cool. So, okay, we got another question. Pace de la Cruz is, have you ever worked with rotational electromagnetic fields? So maybe like, I don't know, referring to Mercury spinning around and something, or something along those lines, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, basically, yeah, I done that kind of stuff a little bit. Mercury has unique properties lighting up in the dark and also creating radio waves. So I did a little bit of that, but not.
So Mercury has luminescence in the dark when you're passing a current through it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can just take a vial of mercury and shake it in the dark, and you can see it glow.
Oh, really?
And if you put it also by a radio receiver, you can hear it being shaken.
Huh. That's really interesting.
Oh, yeah. You can find an old thermometer or an old, oh, good heavens. Yeah.
Mercury switch, something like that.
Mercury switch, yeah. And just take it apart and have fun with it.
That's interesting.
Have fun with it.
So back to the Hutchinson effect. What do you think would be some practical applications of it? I mean, like, to help humanity be able to break the barrier of, the speed of light or whatever. Like, what type of benefits would you do, and how would it be incorporated in our society?
Oh, yeah, it was brought up by scientists in the early 80s. They were saying that it could be used for space propulsion, metallurgical sciences, as well as elimination of nuclear waste. They went on and on and on with that. I didn't present it as George Hathaway presented it. I never was a salesman. They presented as that to these other scientists. And what else? I'm going by memory. New energy sources.
What do you think about that too? Like free energy in general. Do you think that it's even possible to make free energy, or what are your thoughts?
No. Free energy has been around since a couple hundred years. It's if folks look up the Oxford Bell, that's one small free energy device that's been running for, I think, 175 years.
Yeah.
So free energy, it takes something to build a free energy device, but.
So why do you think that free energy is so opposed? Like, because it's a taboo word. It's like cold fusion too. They're taboo words now in mainstream science. Why do you think people are so opposed? Because they don't understand.
Oh, I think it's a matter of dealing with ordinary folk standards. You got dealing with industrial standards. Guys with it can operate nuclear reactors. Think of cold fusion kind of stuff. the other folks like simple things like antennas and batteries and crystal power cells. I believe, anyway, that I mean, there's a lot of kids out there doing all kinds of crystal power cell batteries and having fun with it. What's puzzling to me is that, you know, we built these machines, demonstrated to people. We took them to the Canadian government, folks who said, we don't know what to do with it, basically. Take it to the military. Maybe they know what to do with it. So we ran into that problem, what if? Because I had a lot of sponsors that sponsored me for $250,000, let's say, to build these things. And, well, the problem was that nobody was interested.
Do you think it has to do with like the cost to produce to its overall like return is just not there for it to be commercially viable, or do you think it has to do with like our more of our social science, or do you think it has to do with like the second law of thermodynamics? Like people just believe entropy is the one way ticket. Everything is just decays type of deal. Like we have a misunderstanding of that.
I think a misunderstanding of that. I've stayed with scientists in Germany, and other scientists have created ways to tap into zero-point energy and operate things. But again, from my point of view, it looks like, you know, okay, it's cool. Some scientists are interested in this stuff, but industry or people in industry don't seem to care.
And this is just my personal opinion.
I mean,
go ahead.
Even DARPA was looking for miniature energy management storage systems to operate remote spacecraft. I submitted a proposal like the one I mentioned before.
Right.
I don't know.
So this is just something, my opinion totally, but perhaps it's because there's no return on investment. So like, because if you have this large upfront cost for something that makes a whole like abundance of clean energy that's, you know, will be around forever, like an investor is not going to be able to invest in that and get the return, right?
Basically, I would think so, although there's a Swiss town running on a free energy device for a long time now.
The Testatica?
Yeah. Oh. But
what are your thoughts on that real quick? I got a bunch of questions I got to go through too again. But what are your thoughts on the Testatica? Because I've researched that a bunch, but how do you think they're taking that approach for like a modified Wimshurst?
Well, I believe it's that device is an electrostatic motor. Basically.
What is that vacuum tube though? Like that's the big question. That vacuum tube on the top.
Oh, that's probably a static accumulator or a coherer of some kind.
A coherer. Okay, so like mercury, like you were talking about. I was thinking about that earlier. You were talking about the mercury. The mercury kind of acts as a coherer, can act as like a coherer too on an atomic scale in a way, right?
I mean, yeah, well, mercury can, but nickel chips is pretty active.
Yeah, that's the classic experiment. Yeah.
There was a whole science on coherers a long time ago.
Yeah, Colorado Springs. I mean, Tesla used that extensively, right, to be able to detect lightning and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tesla.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Tesla used all kinds of. He used coherers a long time ago. Marconi had a Marconi coherer tapper.
Very cool. And then, okay, so some questions here. You got a guest? Did you bring somebody else in?
Nancy, my wife, came and said something. I couldn't understand what she said.
Hello, Nancy.
Hello.
So, okay, so people are curious. What are your thoughts on HAARP?
Oh, HAARP, they've been doing that for decades, that kind of stuff. The Russians were doing it with the Soviet woodpecker. It's mostly over-the-horizon radar imaging, and also could be used for weather modification. I have some excellent videos that probably nobody's seen them, from Thomas E. Bearden, an old friend of mine. She sent them to me in 1985 on how they actually used the HAARP project as well as the Soviet weather engineering project. And he elegantly explains it in these unique ways by saying saying that they build up these standing columnar waves and collapse them with these giant interferometers and that kind of stuff. You know, a lot of this stuff gets buried, like Tom Bearden stuff in the early 80s got buried. Luckily, I have a little piece of it, which is a video on his presentation on this stuff. So,
yeah, I've seen some of Bearden's videos and stuff. Very interesting.
yeah, I don't think this one's yet on the internet.
That'd be cool to share.
Oh yeah, I'd love to share it.
What do you think of like motor generators as alternative energy devices or long-term type of, like, I guess you could say free energy? What do you think about motor generators? Like, yeah.
No, my opinion isn't too good on those things.
Yeah. That's refreshing to hear, to be honest. I really appreciate it.
No, I don't think they're. Yeah.
Right, because what's a motor meant to do, right?
Yeah, I mean,
meant to do work, right?
Efficient motors are cool.
Yeah.
You know, I've encountered those, and they're kind of fun to have. But to rebuild them to do something, no, it's not a way to go.
Kind of like reinventing the wheel in a sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think the way to go is non-moving part technology. I mean, solar cells are really cool. They seem to produce electricity.
Yeah.
So let's do something with zero-point energy and get some non-moving part technology there.
And what do you think about zero-point energy as far as, like, do you think that that's like the graviton field that you're pulling from, like a universal ground, or like what do you think it is?
What do I think it is?
Yeah, what do you think? Just opinion-wise. I mean, it's not.
They refer to it as quantum fluctuations.
Okay.
And my opinion would be to study the work of Ken Shoulders or Dr. Hal Pudos, the world's expert on it, to try and comprehend what it is. So I'm still trying to comprehend it myself. But I have this in Germany, in Austria, where I was living with a scientist, Dr. Peter Fukushima, and his wife, Dr. Margarita. And I witnessed him actually pulling out this elaborate setup, these unique quantum fluctuations, as he referred to it. And as well, another friend of mine patented a device, Dr. Franklin E. Mead patented a free energy collector, zero-point energy collector, December 31, 1996. It was the first patent accepted on this kind of topic. And as time moved on, Dr. Franklin E. Mead, as time moved on, I noticed that IBM was buying up all the patent applications for it, which I thought was interesting.
That is interesting.
Now, Mead is kind of famous because he owns, in charge of Meade Air Force Base. And he's a straight shooter. He appeared on a TV show I was in with BBC. One of them, but he's an interesting person to look up.
All right, Mead.
Fun. I got to see a lot of Tesla stuff that nobody's seen because in Vancouver I met one of Tesla's old friends, Thomas Lee Richardson of Vancouver, who had a lot of unpublished works in his house and even some Tesla's furniture. And he was close friends to a broadcaster, Jack Webster of BCTV News. And they would communicate and talk about Tesla on the radio shows and TV shows sometimes.
Interesting. So if we were to try to implement Tesla's technology now, we would need a large potential difference between like the earth and ground, right? We need some type of tower.
Oh, I think some folks have developed the Wood project, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, there's a group down in Brazil, I believe, that was working on it and stuff. I don't know what happened to it. It kind of went dark, but What do you think it would do to our current structure, though? You think it would kind of disrupt our current communication systems?
Well, that's hard to say because so much of the modern communication systems have come in nowadays that doing a broadcast of Tesla's energy these days would cause a big commotion. Federal Communications Commission,
Yeah.
think.
Spark gap transmitters, or FDA doesn't like those very much.
Yeah.
Or not FDA, right? FCC, right?
Yeah, FCC. That's a big problem nowadays. I mean, so much time has passed, and so many communications are. You got aircraft, you got police, you got all kinds of different communications, the internet, and that. So I don't know. It could be a problem trying to. You got naval communications, VLF, ELF radio waves, and HF, and all these different bands.
Yeah.
I think it's a big no-no now.
Yeah, they wouldn't like that too much, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Jim Price asks if you know who Bruce Pollock is.
Who?
Bruce Pollock.
I heard the name, but I forget now.
Okay. And yeah, that was it for that question.
Yeah, I just don't know. I hear so many names.
I wouldn't. It's not surprising at all. I'm surprised you remember all the names that you do remember.
Yeah. Never-ending story.
Yeah, it's a lot to remember. Do you have kind of a photographic mind? You said you're visual. Do you have kind of a photographic mind a little bit? You think like?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I can't remember numbers, phone numbers, or even people's names, but I remember everything else about them. Yeah. Kind of thing, and names to me. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
So,
visually,
what do you think? And here's another one. What do you think about like the vortex coils and stuff of that nature? Certain coil geometries.
I don't know. I don't see them doing anything.
Yeah, I haven't seen any evidence that they are better or worse, but yeah.
Yeah. I know people like to play with stuff. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. I know. I saw on the Fukushima when you were putting out radio frequency for Fukushima, you had a really large, like, crazy waveguide and transmitter.
Oh yeah.
Can you explain some of like the bits and pieces of it, like?
Oh yeah, it's a huge interferometer. It broadcasts on the hydrogen line at very low LIGO frequencies. It broadcasts also on the VLF bands, within FCC rules and regulations in it.
That was gonna be my next question. Is like, was the FCC after you or anything? Like, cause
no, I understand the rules and regulations, and the same in Canada, and I will not break those rules and regulations.
That's probably a good policy.
But yeah, so I stay within the guidelines.
Okay. So like Kenneth Shoulder stuff. I know we're jumping around a lot, but dude, there's so much. You have so much knowledge to share. So I'm trying to just dig as deep as I possibly can, and so we can all learn from you. So, but with Kenneth Shoulder stuff, what was? Are you aware of like the experiments that he carried out for his EVs and his exotic vacuum objects, his EVOs, and all that kind of stuff? Like, what was his experimental apparatus when he was doing those?
He had a huge lab in Bodega Bay, California, and we hung out together quite often over the years. And he presented my work to MIT University. We were pretty close. We'd share information, and unfortunately, Ken got sick. I believe it was 2015. He died of cancer, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
But he was a real good guy. He knew his stuff.
Hopefully, it didn't have anything to do with the experiments.
No, I don't think so.
No. Life. Just life.
Well, yeah.
So fragile.
A lot of people passed away though. Dr. Roger, Elizabeth Roger passed away. And Henry Dakin of the Dakin Institute in San Francisco.
Do you know? Do you
Mm-hmm.
know kind of his experimental setup though? Ken Shoulders, what he was doing? Like, was he just discharging capacitors in a vacuum, or add hydrogen? You know some of the experiments he was carrying out.
Yeah, I had seen some of the experiments and he wrote it up and that kind of stuff. And very good stuff. A lot of huge laboratory in Bodega Bay. So,
Because there's not a whole lot of information of like his actual experiments when it comes to that stuff.
well, the sun's taken over all that stuff. And, yeah, it's not out there.
I see.
It's kind of sad. I mean, there is a lot of information that Ken shared with me that's not out there.
Yeah, that's.
I've seen it in operation. It's
What?
like Dr. Peter Kokoshnik, all his stuff. Nobody even knows who he is now.
I don't even know who he is. Can you describe? Can you explain
Yeah.
a little more?
He had a huge amount of information in Salzburg and also in Vienna.
What particular experiments was he carrying? Or was he carrying out? Same
He
plasmoids.
quantum fluctuations and free energy devices.
Okay.
Uh,
Using
well,
vacuum apparatus, like using vacuum systems and.
he had a full laboratory. I
Yeah.
actually still have some of the equipment he gave me, or his wife gave me after he died. Special Geiger counters I used for measuring background radiation. I still have them, and they're still running fine. Because that was weird. I had to go back in 1993 to help Dr. Margarita with the house and Handor and Wallersea.
For the the 0 point energy technologies, what's a common denominator that people are seeing positive results in? Like, is there one common denominator, or is there just many ways to skin the cat, so to speak?
With 0 point, there's several problems with that. One problem is there are a lot of people like to make up stories about it. So you have about 98 to 99% of claims out there on free energy are just bogus. But you have the 1%, which is true stuff, and people working on it. I know the U.S. government guys are working on it for quite a while. Because, spacecraft, NASA, and that.
Right. Be an excellent power source.
I mean, that's a high priority for those folks to get an alternative energy source.
Yeah.
And working on warp drive. I mean, wow. But
yeah, that'd be a game changer for sure. But I'm not sure, like, how would we? It'd be very disruptive, right? If we became extremely abundant, how would we transition from where we are now to that?
Well, I think it's
it's a hard one.
Well, you got the power companies failing, and these days, as an example, in California. I mean, a lot of stuff going on, so timing would be good for people looking for an alternative energy source.
If it was decentralized, yeah, that'd probably be really, like, if each individual had their own energy sources, that might be very beneficial.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Speaking of decentralized, do you know anything about cryptocurrency?
Oh, no, that stuff I don't know.
Yeah,
no, sorry.
Yeah. I figured as much. I don't blame you. Yeah, this is a very financial type of thing. But the concepts behind, like, Bitcoin are kind of interesting. But yeah, I just figured I'd ask. So, let's see. Do you know what about Pace de la Cruz asked about sonoluminescence? Have you experimented with sonoluminescence at all?
Kind of, yeah. I covered a lot of territory of the weird stuff I used to do.
I'm sure.
Made plasma and did plasma research. I lots of videos on plasma.
So I have an experiment, like I've been tinkering with sonoluminescence right now with piezoelectrics, transducers, right? But what do you think about multi-layering of a medium like water with sound, as well as putting like an electric field into it, creating a I don't know what you would call it, like a cavitational spot or a singularity spot in your waveguide? Like, do you think that I'm onto something? Should I continue my research and ask nature, or do you think I'm going nowhere?
I think that'd be worth researching by other folks. I personally wouldn't want to really be doing it, but
Okay, so do you think there's some hazards I should be careful of and watch out for?
anything like that, you'd have to be very careful with
Okay.
these kind of things. And it's very special technology. And, well, any technology, you have to be really careful. And this crazy stuff I used to do, I was dealing like 400,000 volts. One mistake, and like
Yeah. Yeah.
But just use caution and wisdom with whatever you're doing. That's what I had to do, and but I wasn't sure of something, I'd studied or asked people about it.
Yeah, that's.
And that's how I learned. Just ask people or read books or.
Yeah, that's where I've gotten. I mean, yeah, that's where I've gotten most of my information is from standing on the shoulders of the explorers of the past. Like, and you being one of them. To be completely honest, I mean, people. I like to keep an open mind. Some people, dismiss others because they don't go into conventional theory or they don't go into conventional science. But I like to keep a very broad and open mind about things. So.
I just ask people that know things.
Yeah.
And I enjoy doing that because I don't know anything. I'm always learning something new every day. It's just, how does this work? Oh dear, I better check out. Let me look on the internet nowadays.
Yeah, which is nice. We're living in an age where, like, yeah, I mean, knowledge is at your fingertips. Although like you said before, 98, 99% of it, it's a bunch of bullshit basically. But you have to like siphon through the weeds and to find your flowers.
Oh, good heavens, yeah. I just bought an old power hacksaw thing, and I think I'm learning by studying it and looking on the internet on videos and the restoration of those things.
Right.
Same as all my machining and all that stuff. I just practice and learn and learn and learn and learn.
All your machining stuff, is that all just by diagram, or you use just like artistry, like you just do it just by hand, like to machine things, or is it just strictly for restoration purposes? Like you don't use any CAD software or anything, right?
Oh no, machine tools. I like making things, other machines with them.
Yeah.
Steel and brass and that kind of stuff. I mean, and also other machine tools will make copies, like milling machines and shaper machines and lathes and that. I just I like to restore them, although I have some new ones that I didn't have to restore, but I use them for building different things.
Yeah.
So I build all kinds of crazy things.
Like around the house stuff, or like now you've like piqued my interest. What kind of crazy things are you talking about? Like.
Oh, actually, other milling machines I'll build, or cannons and artillery stuff.
Okay.
I'm into that. Gunsmithing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Steam power stuff. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That's actually something that, like I was just talking about the fusion stuff. I really like to implement steam powered, like a steam powered turbine onto that system from just some of the experiments that I've done. It'd be cool to see if it would indeed be able to be more continuous, And of course, that's always that's like the holy grail is a self-looping system or whatever. But
yeah.
I don't have the chops though. I don't have the technical ability to, because I've never been exposed to milling machines and stuff like that. Like we had woodworking when I was younger, but yeah. What would you like if you were to give advice to younger generation as far as some of the skill sets that you have? Like what would you say? Okay, how about I'll put it this way: if you were to tell your younger self anything, what would you tell your younger self?
My younger self?
Yeah, like as far as like just words of wisdom that you know now that you wish you would have known when you were younger.
Good heavens, I don't know. I mean, I haven't grown up yet. As you can tell, I haven't grown up. Good heavens. I don't know.
So stay how you are then, I guess, right?
If I want a good laugh, I just go and look in the mirror and I either start crying or laugh my head off.
Well, there's been several people, like Jim said that you're looking very nice. I think there's some.
I try and keep a good stiff upper lip.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's good, man. Forever young, right? I think that's healthy. Yeah.
I'm a life extensionist. I'm into life extension.
Yeah. So, what type of practices do you use, like as far as life extension stuff? I mean, obviously, a positive attitude is there.
Positive attitude, yeah. Biologically, I got involved in life extension by reading a book by Dirk Pearson and Sandy Shaw called Life Extension, the Practical Scientific Approach.
Using different.
Back in the 80s, and I thought,
Is it like pseudonutrients and or what are they called? Not pseudonutrients. They're called nutraceuticals and stuff like that. And
yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So I started doing that full time in 1990, taking huge amounts of vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and other supplements, as well as keeping an eye open to the latest findings in biology, which did actually come along in 1997 was the discovery of telomerase, then a product later on called TA65 or telomerase enhancers. I started even taking that stuff too. So
What's that? What's that do in particular?
well, it's a certain enzyme which rebuilds your telomeres, because as you age, your telomeres shrink.
Okay.
Over time, and as you shrink, of course, you look old. Okay.
Right.
So what these enzymes do is actually, every time they divide, they'll add newer tissue to them, so they start going the other way, you're going backwards in time. That's hence the word telomerase or telomeres, indicating time. So in biological, if you can regulate your cell division going to reverse, instead of damaging itself every time it divides, should be able to go back in time and not age. But there's a lot of room for debate on that. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of like a walking guinea pig, testing myself on these things.
Yeah. I'm the same. I'm similar. Have you done any research on intermittent fasting for life extension and stuff like that?
That I have researched out.
You should check it out. It's pretty cool. Like it's like it goes back even into some Egyptian beliefs and obviously some very old, religious text and yada yada yada. But there's actually a lot of science now. Like they took laboratory rats and yeah, of course that's what science does, right? Unfortunately, but and then they deprived them of food like for a certain period of time and made sure they were on a tight caloric restriction, and they noticed that their growth hormone increased like exponentially, especially towards their the latter of their fast. And I think biologically, scientists think like, because you have to be stronger, faster, smarter to get food is the kind of like the biological idea behind it. To hunt down whatever it is you need to hunt down, or to find whatever piece of food you need to find, your body naturally gets accelerated into this like hypersense, I guess. So
yeah, a very good avenue of the human growth hormone and other hormones.
Yeah, other hormones that play a part. Yeah.
Also, while a good SEX is extremely healthy for people.
Yes, it is. You almost caught me there for a second because I'm like, I've never heard of that chemical compound. What is this SEX that you speak of? That's it. Yeah, that's true.
Just in case there's hobbits listening.
Yeah. No, actually, this is very adult, so you're free to say whatever you want, and that's
okay. I don't. But anyway, getting back to that. Yeah. Exercise is very important.
Yes.
And
Do you have a exercise routine that you go through every day still? Hey, I have a question, and I don't mean to be.
I like that.
Sorta, kind of, sorta, yeah.
Yeah.
You look like you got some guns on you. I mean, I know that you're. Okay, I'm gonna ask two. If you don't mind, can I ask a couple personal questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So two are, how tall are you? Okay, because that's a common one.
Tall. 6'4".
6'4", yeah, definitely a tall individual.
Yes.
And then that explains the very nice legs that you have. But okay, so then the next question is, how old are you? I know it's very personal, and, but
A Klingon captain, I don't give away age.
you don't give away age. Okay, all right,
No,
all right.
I don't like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Like I said, they're personal questions, so if you don't want to answer them, then I completely understand. No worries.
No, it's like, what was her, was Elizabeth Taylor, some famous actress would always say 26.
Yeah, and you could have done that too. You could have done that. You probably would have pulled it off, whatever you said.
Yeah, I kind of like that. You can ask, but
Yeah, I might not say. I might not say. Yeah. Now people are saying, look at the triceps. Yeah, you definitely have some guns on you. I think it must be from lifting all the machinery and stuff like that, right? That's your exercise.
yeah.
Yeah.
The what?
You got some biceps and triceps. You got some guns on you.
Oh, that should be called.
Yeah. Take us to the gun show. There you go.
Well, I'm physically active quite a bit. Kind of like I'm actually like a cat. I'm physically active, lay around in the sun and kind of get going on things. And I haven't got really a regime for exercise too much. I like hiking up a mountain or something like that, but
Yeah, like decompress, get back into nature type of deal.
yeah, I just the sun's out, let's lay around like a cat, or go on an adventure climbing up something, or working something.
I like the analogy, like a cat.
No, just a little cat.
Excellent impression. So back to the geeky, sciencey stuff. What do you think of the Sapphire project? Have you looked into that at all?
Oh yeah, that's just two of my big partners are involved in that stuff. George Hathaway and Dr. Hal Pita.
Okay.
It's interesting, and I keep an open mind to it, but I don't go into it that deeply. But George Hathaway probably know a lot about it. He's very dedicated to science.
Yeah.
We're kind of like opposites. George is very dedicated, meticulous, doesn't like news media, straight as a die kind of thing.
Right.
Forever. Loves his laboratory, and I'm kind of the wild, crazy person that
just likes to have fun.
likes to have fun and do all sorts of silly things.
Yeah.
And a scientist's worst nightmare.
Yeah. Probably not. I mean, there's balance. There's balance to things, right? Like, hopefully it helps inspire them to think differently, maybe outside of the box sometimes.
I think so. I mean,
As Popeye the Sailor would say, I am what I am.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're a unique flower, and you just have to appreciate the flower for as it is, right?
Really? Okay.
No sense in going around picking it. Just let it be as it is, right?
It's just who I am.
Yeah.
You're letting me act like that. The TV people won't let me act silly. So.
No,
They say, gotta do it again.
Hey, be who you are, man. Like that's more important. I think it's better to be authentic in who you are than to try to fake the funk, right? Like, what's the point? Who are you trying to impress? Like, you know what I mean? If we just be ourselves, and that's.
Yeah. I was communicating last night with my niece in Canada, and he's thinking of doing a documentary on my life story next summer.
That's cool. Like, it's just like a 3-part deal, or if it's gonna be syndicated. I'm not sure.
Not sure. There's so many weird adventures I've had in my time. But people, I have to write it. I do write it up in pieces when I get inspired, or write something and post it somewhere.
Right.
But I've seen a lot of funny things and been in funny, weird, interesting places, which I find personally interesting.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a huge area to explore, but kind of seen a lot of things.
I bet. I bet. I mean, that's part of the human experience is going around and checking out what it's like to be human, right? Yeah, that's so. Pace De La Cruz asked, "Are you vegan?" Interesting question.
Oh, what's the question? Sorry.
Are you vegan?
What?
Are you are you vegan? Do you eat?
Try that again.
Are you vegan? Do you eat meat? Are you vegetarian? What's your what
Oh,
type of?
sorry. Okay, no, I'm a vegetarian mostly, yes.
Okay, cool, but
Sorry.
not like a strict vegan. You know what like a vegan is?
Vegan, yeah, I do know.
Yeah,
I do eat fish and veggies and all that cool stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't like red meat or McDonald's or any of those places. No.
yeah, you, yeah.
No.
You and I are very similar in that regards. Yeah, I think a lot of people are like that, becoming more like that. Hopefully, So
Good. And
I
last time
hope
I ate
so.
McDonald's was 2006, and that baby's kind of sick to my tummy.
Sick. Yeah. I don't even remember the last time I ate it, but same effect. I felt terrible. Like just yeah, it was bad. So yeah. Man, I don't know. There's if you had for an experimentalist, like, cause you have so much insight. You've done it for so long. Just organically, you're just having fun, just playing around. If you had any advice to give for people, maybe they take themselves too seriously or whatever, but to give to people who are experimenting, like what would it be?
Oh, so many young folks are experimenting in that. I think that no matter what they say to you and wasting your time doing it, that follow what you feel like doing within you. Feel that. If you feel happy with that, do it. Don't be controlled by what other people say, or you'll never be happy. I mean, just follow what you want to do.
That's beautifully
Be,
said.
be individual, and just if you're not sure, just you can always search history and all kinds of cool things for different people and pioneers that have done amazing things.
Yeah.
It's not just Tesla; it's many others.
Yeah,
Folks.
yeah. I mean, even Tesla. I mean, learned from a whole bunch of people before him, type of deal, and had many people who inspired him, like Faraday and Newton and stuff, right? So,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And that's basic for basically all the new stuff now. Coheres to solid state chips,
yeah. So you are encouraging. You want somebody to do more tests. Like actually, there's someone on the stream right now who's very good at solid state Tesla coiling. Um, if they were, but their focus is like really large power distribution. They make beautiful streamers and sparks and stuff. How would you, like, besides a corona ring, like if it's a really high power, but besides a corona ring, how would you be able to suppress that type of power output? Do you have any suggestions, or do you think that it's a whole nother realm because you're dealing with these fixed components, so you might end up destroying the components if you're trying to suppress it, type of deal?
Well, I think a lot of the fixed components are okay. I mean, each coil is different from the builder to build it, and I think probably the best way, the cleanest streamers. It depends on if you like the modern stuff, cool, go for it. If you like the older stuff, then you have to go into triode, vacuum tubes, or before that into spark gaps.
Right.
It's a vast area. I mean, it's.
But there's for a suppression ring though, like a corona ring, you just put like just a ring around the top that is like a toroid basically, or right beneath the top load to help suppress it and keep the power down, but the frequency at its resonant frequency, right?
Well, I've used corona rings. They're used in substations to keep the corona away from damage, uh, voltage damage to wires and that.
Right.
And just to keep the shape of the field that I wanted involved with, and also direct current fields. I wanted to keep that really tight. When I had a plasma discharge, I wanted to have full control over it, so I didn't want sparks jumping all over the place and creating a mess. So only at the point, boom,
Right. Only at the discharge on the spark gap.
Yeah. Direct current, 400,000 volts, heavy amperes.
So your Tesla coil, your analog Tesla coils, you're using a DC. That's when you had some impressive effects. You're using a DC power supply rather than like a neon sign transformer. You're using the X-ray transformers had DC on them, or?
Oh yeah, I had X-ray transformers that had conversion from AC to direct current,
Okay.
and they were variable transformers up to 400,000 volts direct current.
Wow.
Siemens X-ray transformers they actually were, and I had a lot of fun at those.
How many amperes are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
How many amps are we talking about too? Like, for the
Oh,
most part, still pretty low.
yeah, there's a milliamperes at 400,000 volts.
Right. Like
No, but
10 milliamps or something like that.
the arc itself is huge if you do a direct connect to 110 volts or 220 volts.
Ah.
I did that. I had to see what they would do, and I had to bypass the fuse box and all that, and I blew up a pole transformer. But I got a hell of a display out of it.
You think it's from feedback? Like it went back onto neutral line or whatever, and a high voltage
Could have been, but the
surge?
transformer blew off the telephone pole. I mean, it didn't go off. It just caught on fire and
Right.
made noise. Then I thought, now I use current limiters for all that stuff later on, which it did do. It was very active.
Yeah. As you say, I think Variac of just turning a little knob, but it looked like you were steering a ship there on your Variac. What type of Variacs are we talking about?
Yeah, KS Model Electrical Machinery donated to me this giant Variac. It was about 200 pounds.
Jeez.
And it did have a wheel on it. You can see me crank up the voltage on one of the news story videos I got uploaded somewhere out there. But it was massive. So I could go from 0 to 140 volts AC into these transformers.
What type of KVA are we talking? Like what type of kilovolt amps? Like
As much as I can get in.
much as you could draw.
I had to build these nichrome wire current limiters.
Oh yeah.
Simple things to do, but it would only take, no matter what you do, it only would take maybe 10 amps or 20 amps, 10 amps, 50 amps, but wouldn't go beyond that. So I had to do that to save my power kind of thing without destroying the commercial stuff.
Right, so you didn't pull too much power from the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I had to max out the fuse boxes.
That's the life of the experimenter, right?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Well, cool. I appreciate you coming on so much. Like, it's been an awesome time. Is there any projects you're working on, or any like social links you have, or direct people's attention to anything in particular?
Well, let's see. All I got is Facebook, really, and BitChute, John, or Hutchison Effect BitChute, but no real websites. So the websites on me are just fake ones made by people that want to collect money.
Other people, okay, yeah, because I saw one that was I think it's called the HutchisonEffect.com.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one's not yours, huh?
None of them are. No, I have one. It's JohnKHutchison.com. I would have Nancy there and myself, but I don't. It's a
Just informational stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's one website called HutchinsonEffect.ca. It took, I don't know how many tens of thousands of dollars in donations over since 2006. I don't own it. I tried to get rid of it. They even reported to the FBI and the Canadian government guys, but
That sucks. So they're using your name to fish for money.
oh yeah, I mean, I even got people writing me and saying we got scammed for $50 or $100 and said, but complaining to the FBI.
Yeah.
And,
That sucks.
or what agency in your country kind of thing. So,
Right.
yeah, so, no, I don't know.
What? I have another question off the cuff. What's your favorite? If you have one favorite, maybe you have several, but what's your favorite line of reading? Like fantasy, or do you like fiction, or do you like fact more? What do you think?
Oh, in reading, I loved Lord of the Rings, by the way.
It makes sense.
I went into that in the 70s full bore. I went off into a different world. So,
Did you go as deep as like the Silmarillion and all that kind of stuff? Like,
yeah, Gandalf's the Grey and Entwoods and all that. That changed my life a little bit. So, nowadays I tend to look up factual things, like how to repair this or fix that.
right,
Or does this thing do and where does this go?
right.
That kind of stuff. I'll read up on. It's like I haven't got time to read everything. It's just, I don't know. It'd be cool if I could get back into a fiction. I love Star Trek.
Yeah.
I mean, that's TV. But
You just don't have the time for fiction stuff because you're so busy doing creating in real life type of deal, right?
yeah, and I like watching the shows filmed in Vancouver, like X-Files, the old X-Files, Fringe and Anakin. I recognize all the buildings and everything in there.
So it's nostalgic in a way. It brings back memories.
Oh, good heavens. Well, especially on the X-Files.com and Endgame are filmed right in one of the ships that I'm working in.
You still continue work there, or like you mean you worked in the past?
Oh, I was offered, that was 1995 to 2000.
Okay.
4 warships I worked on.
Restoration, or it had to do with radio frequency stuff?
No, it was to prepare them for artificial reefs. So we had to clean up
I see.
the electronics and artillery stuff, which I said I would love to do for free because I had a lot of money at the time from Japan. And I did it for free, and just with the option of taking anything I wanted up to home with me.
Yeah.
Which,
That's
there
convenient.
was a lot of stuff that went up the hill, let's call it.
that's
Plus, for me,
convenient.
it was a learning experience to understand all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I had like 5 years of naval training center. But they take the ships out and blow them up with dynamite or C4 and sink them with a big media show.
Right.
So luckily,
Artificial reef.
And I filmed a lot of the stuff that went on there.
That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, we'll have to get together a cloud with, just start sending me some more stuff, and I'll go on. Do you have a Facebook page, by any chance?
A Facebook page?
Yeah, like an actual page. It's separate than your, like, people can, or like a group maybe, like where people can talk on Facebook.
Oh yeah, there is. Somebody started a page up there. It's my Facebook is John Kenneth Hutchison, but there's also another page I have is the Hutchison Effect, where people go in there and build things. And of course, I just made another one called Grand Old Farts. These are politicians. I went on to say all these lunatics in Washington, D.C., blah, 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 and I have all these pictures of the little gangs having fun in there. That's another one of my pages. Ian Gazda is another page.
Okay.
My ex-girlfriend, filmmaker, but I think if they go to John Kenneth Hutchison Facebook, they can see the pages I do have.
Excellent. Yeah, because you have a lot of really good resources that you post pretty much daily. Like you have a lot of your past stuff, and yeah, so excellent resource.
It keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's why I call it fun book.
Well, that's good. That's a good attitude. Some people, don't like it and think it's out to take away their freedom, yada yada yada. But
Come
on. My take on it, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of biased because my name's so unique. My name's Dyden, right? So if somebody wants to find me, it'd be pretty. It's pretty easy to find me. Like it's not gonna be too difficult.
I mean, I don't, I've gone into the main media stuff, and I haven't, nothing ever happened. I said, I don't walk around dressed like this all the time and fit right into California.
It's been what 300 plus days of sunshine there, so
Mm-hmm.
right. California's been pretty warm because of the fires and everything. 300 plus days, no rain yet, right?
No rain, nothing. Yeah. It's interesting to observe all this stuff, and something's going on. But I'm not qualified to say what it is, really. I don't know.
Change, right? Climate change, you could say. Change in general.
People talk about climate change. The only observations I know is that the snow and ice in Vancouver over many decades hasn't been that intense.
It's declined.
Yeah, it declined, and Lost Lagoon Lake doesn't freeze over anymore. So it tells me something's going on. That's my benchmarks in global warming is what I'm familiar with. But other than that, people talk, there's no global warming. There's global warming. Back
I mean, one thing I think everyone can agree on is change is kind of a universal constant. So to say climate change, certainly things are going to change regardless, right?
Oh yeah.
And I personally feel like we have a lot of effect on our environment. I mean, you look at just the cityscape, we've completely manipulated the environment to change on that level. So that's my personal, I mean, you look at the oceans. Oceans have plastic in it now, and there's all kinds of
incredible what's going on with the
ocean. I mean, there's all kinds of facts there. There's all kinds of evidence of our influence on this world. So to kind of just throw the baby out with the bathwater type of thing, I don't. It's unfortunate.
I often think of how many aircraft are flying during one day around the world.
That's also a very good point. And a lot of people talk about chemtrails. Chemtrails are it's a conspiracy or it's not a conspiracy. Well, anybody who doesn't understand is basic engineering. Like, I mean, when you burn hydrocarbons, you're releasing chemicals into the atmosphere. So I know. Yeah. So yeah, there is I mean, there are chemical trails of hydrocarbons. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, huge amounts of them too. Yeah. It's and laser beams being used to burn down California. Come on, it just goes on. It's conspiracy stuff. I really don't like it. I'm not into that stuff. People start talking that way to me, I just walk away real fast.
Yeah. Because it's just speculative, right? There's no, we can focus on the things that we know for sure, but then everything else is just speculation.
Yeah, I mean, you have a comprehension problem with the reality or something, because like the 9/11 stuff, that's another one.
Yeah, you get pulled into that one a lot, I've noticed. What's your kind of feel on that?
Dealing with a lot of weight, a lot of buildings that most of it's bolted together, believe it or not. You're dealing with a lot of weight. You're dealing with aircraft crashing into a building, and I'm surprised they didn't fall over right away, actually. Then they collapse, and then you have, and then all these conspiracy things go on, and laser beams are used, no planes. Well, how do you explain with no planes all the people that died and all their history and everything? It's just
right, the facts that are present with the people who were on the planes and all that kind of stuff.
It's an event that I really wish didn't happen. It just forever changed the world.
Absolutely.
And created a situation in the USA, created the Patriot Act and all kinds of terrible things.
Right. Fear, just propagating more fear and stuff like that,
Oh yeah.
Super unfortunate. But then in hindsight, or like in retrospect, if you look at it, that incident, and not taking away from it or anything, but that incident, like the casualties of that was actually far less than a lot of other things that happen in the world that we don't even talk about. You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah. So. But on to more positive things. You are looking pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. You're looking very nice tonight.
Why, thank you, Captain. Me.
That's another question. How many personas? How many personas do you have? How many characters?
Right?
How many characters do you have? Like I know Carla, right? It's Carla Conniption, but how many characters do you have?
Oh, I lost count. I have Constable Green. I have Otto and Roscoe, and the Major, and I think Carl is one of my favorites. Like throwing mud in people's faces, you know.
Have you ever thought of like storyboarding it and making like a?
Oh, Nancy gets me in acting out certain things.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good. Keep you young, keep you laughing and having fun.
Oh heck yeah! I mean, I think Carl is my favorite character. It's just Carla just flips off society and they're nuts, you know. It's one of my favorite characters, Carla. The major general is more demanding. He'll go after people with a sword or something.
It's a little more intense. The real strong.
Yeah.
Real strong masculine figure.
Yeah, it's a false major. Carry on. I have fun.
That's good. That's really important, right? I think so anyways. Sometimes I forget myself to take a deep breath and have a little fun.
Oh yeah, you gotta have fun.
I agree. Well, I appreciate you coming on so much. I just am very grateful that you were willing to give your time and your knowledge to everybody listening. And
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Fun too.
Do you have any closing words or statements? Any anything?
Closing words and statements.
Yeah.
Follow your dreams, guys and ladies and gentlemen. Just do whatever you're best at doing. And whatever. Keep healthy and keep smiling.
That's well said.
Okay.
Well said. And on that note, I think we'll end it. And I'll link some more information in the description afterwards. Hopefully, collect a lot of information from John. And I appreciate you all listening in. Make sure you hit subscribe if you enjoy this content. Hit the little notification bell for future podcasts and all that jazz. And you guys can always hit me up on our Discord channel. The links are all in the description below. And until next time, everybody, much love to you all and peace.